Welcome to another MECH 1000 video. In this video I'm going to show you how to use some of the 3D commands that are found in chapter 13 of the textbook, primarily the Extrude and Revolve commands. So in chapter 12 we created almost all of our 3D objects by using these shapes here, and then either unioning them together or subtracting them. But a couple other useful commands are extrude and revolve. So the way these objects work, you need a profile, and then in the case of revolve you also need an axis, and then it makes a shape. So let's start off with a rectangle as our shape. I'm going to use the rectangle command here, and I'll just draw a couple points here. Okay, and I'll look at it from an isometric point of view. So I've got my shape, and now if I want to, and I'm also here going to change this from 2D wireframe to shaded with edges, and then I can extrude that rectangle. So what extrude allows me to do is to choose a closed shape that's made of polylines or lines that are joined together. So I've selected my object and I hit enter. And then I can either just drag my cursor up. My computer's lagging here a bit. Wait for it. There we go. I can drag it up, or I could key in if I know the exact height I want. Let's say I want it to be 2 inches tall. 2, enter. And I have now essentially just made a box. So I could have used the box command, but instead I extruded. I had a shape I drew, and I extruded it. So this works out pretty well as long as your shape that you start off with, as I said, is made of polylines, or those shapes, the shape is joined together. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let's say, and I'm going to draw a shape somewhat like this because there's something like this on our final project this year, depending on what year you're watching this video. Maybe you know what I'm talking about, or maybe not. Let's say I have a shape and I want to round off some of these corners. I can use my fillet command. The radius, let's go with, I don't know, 1/4 inch radius. And I'll round off some of these corners. All right, I'm not going to do all of them. It'll just take too much time. But let's say I've got that, a shape like this. And I try to extrude it. So it only lets me select that line. Now I can pick all the lines. I can go around picking all of them. And I can extrude up, but you'll see the way that it's has this mesh, this grid mesh all over it. And then if I actually look at it from above, you can see what I have extruded is not a solid shape, but rather just a hollow shell. And if that's not what we want, if we want a solid shape, I need to join all of these lines and fillet arcs together before I extrude them. So let me hit the undo button here to get back to this point. The join command can be found on the modify toolbar, or you can just type the word join to execute the command with a keyboard shortcut. So I'll click here for join, and I can just select all of these lines and arcs and everything else that I want to join together, and it converts it into one polyline. So now if I highlight it, if I click on it, the entire thing gets highlighted. And if I extrude it, Come on. There we go. Now, instead of just extruding a hollow shell, I have a solid object. Okay, so whenever you're creating a profile to extrude, you want to use some sort of command like this that uses polylines, like polygon, rectangle, circle, or ellipse. Or if you're drawing it yourself with individual lines and arcs, just join that shape together so that it's all one polyline, and then you can extrude it. Now let's take a look at the revolve command. So again, you can start off with any type of shape that is a polyline, like a rectangle, and you can revolve that shape about some axis. Now that axis can be a part of the shape, like I can pick 2 points on the edge of that rectangle, and then I can extrude it around. I can choose not extrude, but revolve. I can revolve it around, and I can specify the number of degrees if I want to go all the way around. I can type 360 and make a 360 revolve. Now that just makes a cylinder, right? And we could have done that just using this command right here. So what's the benefit of using the revolve? Well, you don't have to choose the axis. The axis does not need to be a part of the shape. I could choose an axis way over here, for instance. And so I can revolve this shape about an axis that's over here, for instance. And I can make that go around 360 degrees. And I can make this kind of ring shape. Okay, and you don't have to use just rectangles. As I said, any of these shapes will work. So I could make a circle. And then I can revolve that circle about an axis that is offset to the side of the object. Okay, and basically there I've just made a torus. Or I can take a circle and I can revolve it about its own center. And in this case, if it will let me do this, I thought it would. Unable to revolve that object. Okay, so it doesn't want to revolve it about its own axis. You can do this in Inventor, but I guess it's not going to let us do it in AutoCAD. Try it one more time. Revolve. Maybe if I just choose points, pass through the center. Nope, still unable. So that's a way you could make spheres in Inventor. I guess it's not going to let us do that though. But if we wanted a sphere, of course, we could always use the sphere command right here. That's not a problem. Okay, so extrudes, you can either use polygons, rectangles, circles, ellipses, or you can draw freehand your profile, just join it all together beforehand. And then with revolves, keep in mind that you can revolve the shape about an axis that's on itself or off to the side. Either one of those will work. I had just an idea here. What if I draw a line through there and then I trim? Let's trim that off so it's a semicircle, and then join them together. And then I try to revolve it. There we go. That will allow me to make the sphere. Okay, so I think that does it for extrudes and revolves. If you have any questions, post them to the Blackboard discussion board, or be sure to ask in class.